Well, I was hoping to be telling you about a victory in this week's vlog. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out quite how I'd hoped, but very interesting. It was the last round of the Preston Pole Pairs. Myself and Joe Carass had fished the league. Those of you that follow the vlog again, first round was an absolute nightmare. We had two really poor pegs. It was really disappointing. We both came fourth in our 5 peg sections. We were really disappointed. Totally redeemed ourselves after that. We won, both won our sections on the second round. Both won our sections on the third round, which no other pair had managed the double win. So we were right back in it. We had 12 points. We were joint third, and anything could happen. We went and had a practice on the Friday. Really enjoyed the practice I had with Joe on the Friday. We learned quite a lot. I'm really enjoying commercial skimmer fishing at the moment, especially in the winter. I think that it's a real challenge. I can't quite get my head around it, if I'm being honest. Bloodworm fishing for roach is almost, it's not straightforward, but when the fish arrive, it's getting everything right to keep catching them and keeping on top of your feeding. With the skimmers, it's slightly different. It seems like topping up doesn't have the same effect, and they drift in and out of your peg, and it's very difficult to keep on top of what's going on and manage your peg effectively. That's going to be a challenge. I've sort of set myself a little target of, say this time next year, being a little bit more on top of it than I am now. I do actually feel like I'm quite good at it, because I just don't think a lot of us do it properly anyway. I feel that there's a bit of scope there for someone to sort of grab it and make it a little bit better. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the over the coming years, because there is a lot more popularity, and yesterday was no different. I drew on Lake 5, Peg 5, towards the bottom end of that lake, for those that know it. It's relatively deep, 8 foot at top 6, 8 foot further out, very soft bottom further out. My plummet was sinking all over the place, so I knew that they were going to be tricky to catch, the skimmers. I had a brilliant start to the match. I've had 2 lines long, one with a non-fish meal mix, but no joker. A little bit back to front this, non-fish meal, no joker on one line, and then some match method mix, which is a fish meal based mixed with some joker in it. And it was interesting because I caught a lot of fish on the non-fish meal, non-joker line. I caught some decent skimmers, and a big crucian and a couple of carp, but the bulk of my fish came over the joker and fish meal line, and I got off to a really good start. I kept the fish coming. Everybody said you'd catch close with casters, and I've fed casters there all day and literally caught nothing. I think that's a massive lesson, because everybody had been going on there and bagging up with casters on the top 5 and 6. That's pleasure fishing. No wonder you're not catching there in a match. I mean, there wasn't even that many on the lake, but it was windy and cold, and wind was in my face, and I spent too much time kept trying to make that work. I should have literally sat down and fished long pole, and I would have had a little bit more, and a little bit more is what I needed. It was a slightly calmer down to my right, and it just seemed like later on in the match there was a few more skimmers there, and when there's skimmers, there isn't many better than Simon Willsmore, who was on my right. Peg 1 we'd taken out because we had a free peg to take out, and it so happened made 3 the end. And Simon's done really well. I've definitely had a better start than him. I would say after 2 hours I was comfortably ahead. I seem to be catching a slightly bigger stamp, but he kept catching skimmers until the end of the match, and I had a little late run myself. And I honestly thought that I was a long way behind. Usually I'm pretty good, know roughly what I've got, and I thought I had sort of 25 pound, but I thought Simon must have 35, and I've misread the situation a little bit, because when we weighed in, Simon's weighed 28 pound 14 ounces, and I've weighed 28 pound 8 ounces, so only 6 ounces in it, not even one fish. So I was a little bit disappointed at the end, so I came second in my 5 pegs. I was second on the lake, which, you can't moan at that result, definitely not, but just a little bit disappointed because I felt a few tweaks shouldn't have possibly, I kept coming on that short line, and although I caught a few roach there, I should have just head down out long, and I think I would have probably snuck another fish or two, probably take away a few roach. I needed to say 2 more fish, which probably was, well, it was certainly achievable. But they backed off a lot during the day. Very, very interesting fishing, really interesting fishing. But when you're fishing with light elastics and small hooks, catching skimmers, it's brilliant fishing. And 28.8, what a great day's fishing I've had there. Joe was on Lizard, a lake called Lizard. I'm not sure of his exact peg, but I know there was 3 boss pegs in his section, and he had 3 great anglers on him, and it was all over really. You try to keep positive before the draw, but Joe's just caught a few little tiny roach, and Andy May, Dave Brooks, and Frankie Giannicelli have caught odd skimmers and roach, but a lot more consistently than Joe has. Which we tended to think could be the case, and he's ended up 4th in his 6 pegs, which effectively ended our chances of coming in the top 5 what they paid. So, you know, but it was so interesting. There was blowouts all over the place. You know, 5 peg sections when you're all competing. There was once, I mean, just like I've mentioned, Joe's section there. If you draw with people in your section who are in contention, all those people can't win the section, and that proved yesterday with, you know, people swapping points all over. And it finished with Andy Power and John Harvey winning the league. They'd led from the 2nd round. They came 2nd and 3rd in their sections yesterday, but held on to the lead. 14 points, well done lads. Simon Willsmore, that 6 ounce proved pretty crucial next to me, because they won the pairs on the day, him and Darren Davis, and that gave them £750, and they finished 2nd in the league with £1,000 on section win countback, so that double section win got them right up there. You can get all the results on Pole Fishing website if you want to check out the full top 5 and 6. You know, get on there and have a look. Oliver Scott won the day, deserves a mention. £58 a bream from peg 16B. You know, a little bit of talk before the match that could be a peg that threw up a few bream, but regardless of whether that's the case or not, £39 came 2nd, so it's £20 clear. A fantastic performance there, so definitely worth a mention. So that was very interesting, really interesting fishing. I'm a little bit disappointed because I think that's the end of the winter commercial fishing for now. I'm going off to the River Soar next weekend, which is I'm really looking forward to. That's actually not true actually. I'm going to River Soar for a practice, and the Sensors Challenge is the weekend after, and this weekend I'll be fishing an open match on the Saturday at a place called Bank End, which is actually roach and bloodworms. So I've actually excited myself there because I've realised that I've got one more commercial silverfish match to come, so I'm really looking forward to that on Saturday. That will be good actually. That's lightened up my day after a little bit of a disappointment from the weekend. So but keep an eye on the blog. We'll let you know how we get on next week, and don't forget, as always, subscribe. If you go on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. It's free to do, it doesn't cost you any money, and it means you know exactly when the videos come out, and you can keep an eye on what I'm doing if you want to, of course. Anyway, see you later. Cheers, bye.